Now, all these questions on the third and fourth page of this worksheet are a lot of the old easy stuff. Maybe a few challenging ones in there, but for the most part, they're all pretty easy. So if you have not done this worksheet, go finish it and then come back and check your answers. You want to see what you know how to do and which ones you still have forgotten, okay? So go do this, pause the video, come back, and then we'll check our answers real quick. Okay, so the first one is simply, you got to know this is a vertical line and not horizontal. Horizontal is the ones that look like the horizon. Okay, so horizon is my horizontal, this is my vertical. So if it's vertical with a V, you're going to write VUX. They want the slope, and of course the slope of a vertical line is U, undefined. So I'm going to pick that one out. Had it been the HOY, H-O-Y, the slope would be 0. And of course the equations of horizontal lines start with y equals a number, and vertical lines start with x equal to numbers. This one, they want to write the equation of this lovely line. So you could put each of these equations in the calculator and just match the picture. That's one way to do it. Perfectly good way to do it. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You could also say, well, the y-intercept is at -3, so I'm going to look down here for one that's at -3, and there were 2 of them. So you might have gotten rid of those 2 numbers. And you might have said, oh, well, I can find some pretty points. I went up 1 over 2, and it's positive, so my slope is positive 1/2. And you might say, oh, it's this one, not the negative one. So C would have been the right answer if you did that. Again, you could just put all 4 in the calculator and match a picture. If you're matching the picture, make sure you look to see that it's crossing at -3 and crossing the x-axis at +6. So check carefully when you're doing those. This one is slope, and they give you 2 points. So that's when you use the slope formula, y minus y over x minus x. Put parentheses around the numbers before you drop them in. These are the subtractions. You put this in the add subtract screen. Y numbers, the 4 and the -5 go on top, and then the -4 and the 1 go on bottom. So y is on top, x is on bottom. Control divide, put it in the calculator, and it should tell you -9/5. Boom, there's the answer. If you ever get an answer that doesn't match any of them, it just means you typed something in wrong. Go back to home and try it again. Just double check that you put the y's on top, x's on bottom. Make sure you didn't miscopy something down. That happens a lot. Write the equation of a line that goes through these 2 points. They're all in y equals format, so every time they're all in y equals format, you should just be smiling, because we can just put them in the calculator and make a little table out of these 2 points. When x is 2, the y is -3. When x is -1, the y is -1. So put each of these in and go check their table, Control T, and just see which one matches the table. That's the easiest way to do those. Again, 4 equations match a table. So put them on, they're all y equals. Again, smiling, put them in the calculator under the graph icon, and Control T, check the table. Remember, these are the x numbers and these are the y numbers, so make sure they match several of the points, not just 1 point. Oh, and y'all can see which one matched there. 21, same thing. They give us 4 equations, all in y equals, right? And it needs to have a slope of -4/5 and go through that point. So rather than putting all 4 in, you might notice that the slope is -4/5. So you might get rid of A and you might get rid of C, because those both have a slope of +4/5. And then just put these 2 in the calculator and see if they go through that point. So anytime you're checking to see if it goes through a point, the table is the easy way to do that. And of course, B winds up doing it. If you have not done these already, pause the video and go do them and then come back. Now the maximum, they ask how high or how low it goes. So when you go graph this one, you can see it's a high point. That's why they asked a maximum. So we want the highest y number. So if you go trace around to the vertex, you can see that there's 6. Sometimes when you try to count up the y-axis, it's hard to see. But if you trace around to the vertex, you can see that the y number is a 6. That's how high you went. So that's what we want. We don't want the vertex. We want the y number in the vertex. Okay, we want to how high it went. Max and min are y numbers. Find the vertex. Now this time again, trace around it and find the actual vertex. So we want the ordered pair. So 1, 3 is that. Remember, you do the x number first and the y number second. So don't tell me 3, 1. It was over 1, up 3. So x numbers first, y number second. Last page of this worksheet. Hopefully you've done them and you're just checking. This was finding the axis of symmetry. So if you go put it in the calculator, it's in y equals, right? Trace around it, find the vertex. We want the equation of that line goes right down the middle of that parabola. And of course, the axis of symmetry is going to start with x equals, right? X equals a number, and it's the vertical line. And you can see the x in the axis to remind you that it starts with x equals. And the x number in this vertex is 1, so x equals 1 is the equation. And even if you didn't know that, as soon as you knew it was x equals, you could have ruled off A, C, and D. None of those started off with x equals. This one was find the minimum, so again, it's the y number in the vertex. So if you put this in the calculator, go trace around it to the vertex. This was the lowest point it went to, and I want the y number, right? Because that's how low it went on the y-axis. It's all the way down to a +1. So we want that one, not the vertex, right? Okay. This one is find the axis of symmetry, so you immediately know it's going to start with x equals a number, right? So look down here. There's an x equals and there's an x equal. I get rid of the b and the c. And it's going through what number on the x-axis? Positive 2, so that's it right there. Find the vertex. This time I want the location of that point where it changes direction. I want the ordered pair. So from the origin, you go right 1 and down 2. X number first, y number second. So 1, negative 2. That's how I got to this one, 1, negative 2. X first, y second. Find the maximum. So again, how high it goes. And so I'm going to come straight across to the y-axis and see what that number is, and it's a positive 2. So that's what I want, is how high it went. Do not look at these x numbers, right? Because a lot of people are going to look at this and say negative 2. I want how high it goes, max and min, or up and down on the y-axis. Y numbers only. Find the minimum. Again, a y number only. How low did it go? And it went all the way down here to negative 3. Factor. Okay, now it's been a while since we've done these, but this thing, I'm looking for one of these. If I multiply them together, it equals this, right? So one way to do it is to multiply these together using double distribution and see which the answer is. But check it with the calculator, or just do it in the calculator to start with. If they're the same, I can put y equals in front of this one, and if I think this is the answer, put y equals in front of it. They're going to make the same graph if they're equivalent. So put this in the calculator, it makes a lovely parabola, and then put this one in, make sure it goes right smack dab on top of it. And it should, because if I multiply these two things together, it's going to equal that. Now, I can't put e's in the calculator. I'm going to type it in with x's. The same thing on the answers, type in with x's. Make sure you put parentheses around both sets of factors, right? So the easy way to do this, if you don't want to do any factoring, or if it goes out of your head on test day, just put y equals in front of this, put y equals in front of these. I just want the thing that's the same, okay? They're going to be the same. They're going to be equivalent. Same thing here, it says factor. So if I want to go multiply these things together, I can, or I can just simply put y equals in front of this, using x's in the calculator, and then put y equals in front of each of these, and find one of these that goes right on top of that graph. It will make the exact same graph if they are equivalent, if they are factors of it, right? And C does work, so if you put that one in and this one in, they should make the exact same graph. There we go. Hopefully we're getting better at recognizing how to do these in the calculator. See you guys tomorrow.